I'll shut
There you
up
go.
now. I'll mute myself.
No, that's fine. Absolutely fine. Yeah, so I'm a personal trainer, dance fitness instructor, and I'm going to talk about a little bit about what I did before lockdown. So before lockdown, I personal trained. So technically, I was a full-time personal trainer, even though that full-time at the studio we were at only really meant 20 hours a week, so not necessarily a full-time job, but mixed in with 20 hours PT, 6 hours of classes a week, and then obviously admin on top. It kind of became a full-time. I've told you what classes I did during lockdown. So just before lockdown happened, I was a bit like, my job very much relies on being face to face with people. So knew that I had to go online. So now I've got my online classes. So I actually do now 13 online classes a week. They're not all hour-long classes, so I'm not doing 13 hours of teaching a week. It's not crazy, it's anything like that. And I also do some online personal training, which is different. It's a bit different. It's definitely showing its challenges about getting the laptop in the right place and stuff like that, as I'm sure you guys have found with the dance classes as well. And now slowly, as we're kind of slowly coming out of lockdown, we are doing now some social distance one-to-one PT outside in parks, which has been great. It's been so nice to just physically see another human being other than the people that you live with, as much as they're lovely. Obviously it gets a bit isolated after some time. So yeah, how I'm doing that, as well as people bring their own equipment to try and stop the cross-contamination coming as well there, which is working quite well at the moment. Not too many people, or I'm just going to admit another person. Yeah, so not too many people are taking that up at the moment. Obviously everyone's still in lockdown, so everyone's trying to take that. So yeah, that's what I do at the moment. Really enjoying it. I'm a very bubbly, chatty person, so that's probably why I fall into the job that I have. I definitely couldn't be behind a desk, but my partner does that, so very different. How I ended up doing this, so I actually started dancing when I was 8 years old. My parents had enough of me dancing around in the kitchen, so they were like, right, Rachel, let's go to a dance class. Took me a little while to find the right one that I loved. I actually trained in Latin and ballroom and freestyle dance, and then I went on to street dance a little bit after. Well, what my school called street dance, I wouldn't call it street dance now I know from the training and other stuff with Alison. And then my dear friend took me to my first dance and fitness convention, that's I should say dance and fitness convention, in 2011, and I fell in love, which is where people kind of do aerobics and step, and they do lots of fitness classes, and they also teach dance in a very different way to kind of what a lot of dance schools that I had trained at previously had done. And I also studied dance at GCSE and A level, and the way they teach it is totally different to the way that I now teach street dance, and a lot of other people do. But loved it, absolutely loved it. If you do like fitness classes, they're great things to go to. You do like 9 hours a day of like fitness, which you would never normally do, but you can do it for a whole weekend apparently, and you're fine. I then studied dance and fitness. That led me to go and study dance and fitness at uni, which I did at Buxton Uni, which is in High Wycombe, which is coincidentally where we do the teacher training for Urban Strides teacher training. So it's really weird to be back there again. And then I began to fall in love with fitness just as much as I loved dance. So that's kind of where my fitness journey started. So after uni, I actually worked as a wellness coach at Nirvana Spa. Some of you might know it, some of you might not, which is around the corner from me, which is basically I think it's the only one in the country that is a freshwater spa that doesn't have that is only a spa, that there's no hotel attached to it or anything, although they're building one now. I then moved to Frogmore, which is just a little leisure centre near me, and the title was fitness motivator, to work on the gym floor, and also an instructor. I got on so well with my boss that she just kind of started giving me classes left, right and centre, because me and her were very much on the same wavelength. But she did like the Les Mills stuff, whereas I do a lot of freestyle stuff, which is basically all freestyle means is that I make up the classes. So all the routines are my own. Everything is created by me, rather than with Les Mills and stuff like Zumba and stuff. You learn it off of DVDs and stuff like that. That's all the differentiation. And that's also where I started my personal training career. It was a great way to get started. But then in 2018, I decided to go self-employed just because I didn't really like the way the company was going. And I really enjoyed the freedom of my own client base. I felt I had a much better connection with my clients working for myself than I did working in a gym. I don't really particularly know why that is, but it's just the way it's happened. Some people did follow me, but I have like a real friendship with a lot of my clients now. And the studio is a private studio that I work in, so this is the other reason why we couldn't continue what we were doing, is there was about, I think there's about 10 trainers maximum at a time in the studio, and the only people that are in there are the PTs with their clients. So that is absolutely fabulous, because people who are very intimidated by gyms, which are, I'd say, about 90% of my clients, have come to me for that reason, because they feel comfortable. They have someone that they can rely on to make them feel comfortable. And the great thing about it is everybody pays attention to them and their PT and nobody else. So nobody feels intimidated, which is ideal, really. And then how I met Alison, I did a level 4 street dance teaching diploma in August of last year. And I can't believe that's nearly a year ago now. That feels like just yesterday. Very funny, I actually had my friend's wedding the day before my best friend's wedding. I was bridesmaid. The next morning I had to wake up at like 6 a.m. to drive down back down to it, because she got married in Wolverhampton. So yeah, that's kind of how I ended up doing what I do now, and I absolutely love it. I honestly wouldn't want to do anything else. I love it, love it, love it. So my common client struggles and goals. So I would say most of my client base are women. I think I have 3 men that I work with, and I have about 20-25 women that I work with one-to-one. Yeah, and most goals, as probably what most people think of, is weight loss, improving fitness, and kind of toning. The common struggles that I come across, which is probably stuff that all of us have, is like that kryptonite food, that particular thing that we all have. For me, it's chocolate, yeah, alcohol, cheese, and then crisps are like the usual things that everybody has. And it's okay if yours is all of them, that's also fine. Also, busy lives. I do have a lot of working mums, as well as just business owners themselves, and just working, like women that work. Weirdly, all the men that I have are all self-employed, so they run their own businesses. So yeah, all those responsibilities are kind of what they find are the big blocks to being able to reach their goals on their own, which is why they've decided to come and see me. Emotional eating, again, it's something that we all do come across, especially women, and that's not to separate us. Obviously, we have a very different hormone journey to men, which is why we have the hormonal eating. And also high levels of stress. I do think lockdown hopefully is going to teach people a lot about how we live our lives and how high stress they are normally, and just how to appreciate, because like my partner at the moment is furloughed, so he's quite chilled at the moment. I mean, he's a dead chilled person anyway, but I think it's made a lot of people that have that very high stress job realize actually they don't need to live their life like that. I've definitely had one client really experience that, so that's been great. So yeah, benefits they feel from regular exercise is their mental health improves. I have one client who probably went from being the most shy person I've ever met to one of the most confident people that you come across now. I think she finally got to be herself after a little while. I think she kind of was associated herself with just being a mum and just being a teacher, so that's what she did as a full-time job. And I think finally having this hour a week that was just hers and she could just be her really helped her. So yeah, obviously people experience weight loss and body composition change. So body composition just means change in shape. So kind of what we call toning, that normally means that. Nutrition improves, although that can be intermittent, as we'll say. Like I have clients that, all my clients experience this actually, they'll be so good for like a month, and then after that it will just all go out the window, and then we have to do it all over again, but that's fine. And then yeah, like I said a minute ago, finally have some me time to focus. I think the mums and the full-time workers, as well as being a mum, are the people that value that the most. I have a lady that's a head teacher, and she literally loves the fact that she has this whole hour that is hers. So yeah, she really values that, so that's great. Her husband's also a head teacher, so that would be a bit of a crazy household, I can imagine. Yeah, so my 3 top tips for lockdown. So I've got 3 tips for lockdown and just 3 tips for general. So definitely going outside as often as you can. My fiance definitely has a go at me after a couple of days when he realizes I haven't been out for like 2 days because I've been teaching classes and I'm exhausted. I just want to sit down. He's like, you haven't been outside because you're being really ratty. So go outside. It's definitely really important. I think especially now when we are kind of confined to our houses. I know it is changing a bit more. And I know some people, not everyone's affected by this. I know some people are still going to work. But yeah, just a simple walk, picnic in the park, or like a run or cycle. Even just going out and sitting in your garden, ideal. And also remember that you can do socially distanced walks now and picnics. Obviously, if you or a family member are high risk and that isn't something that you can do make sure you go into your garden if you have one. I don't have a garden, so I have to go out for a walk. Talk to your friends and family as much as possible. So stuff like this is great. So yeah, thank you for Alison for organising this kind of thing, because that's really important. We do a pub quiz every Thursday as well, which we love. It's just so nice to chat to people and feel like you're in a space with other people, even though you're not. It's good to feel like it. Yeah, phone calls, and then again, like I said, social distance meetups. Definitely stay in touch with people as much as possible, because we need other people to feel well. Like that's what when our mental health is at our best, is when we're surrounded by other people and we're happy. I know some people like to be on their own a little bit more and have the time to themselves, but it is also important that we do integrate as well. And eat well. Obviously, this is easier said than done, and I'm so aware of that. So I do want you to know, like, as a personal trainer, I do struggle with this as well, and I actually don't know a single personal trainer that doesn't. I know a lot of people make out that they don't struggle with this, but that I've never ever experienced someone that actually can consistently be on top of it, their nutrition 24/7 all the time. So I think that's something that we really have to debunk in the fitness industry. It's so easy, especially at the moment with boredom and anxiety and stress. Although you might not feel anxious or stressed about lockdown on the surface, it's probably might be bubbling underneath. And that is when we kind of constantly snack and get really quick and easy food to eat, easily done. I've suffered from it. My partner suffered from it. We're all constantly doing it. There's been a huge link between mental health and food, and how it can really impact you. I've definitely noticed it where I've kind of had my days of like binge eating and just wanting to just eat chocolate 24/7. How much my mental health has eventually been impacted by it. Yeah, so I run a program called Tone from Home, which is basically just kind of exercise and nutrition help. And that kind of really does try and hold me accountable. Again, I'm not perfect. It's not 24/7 that I'm on it. But it does mean that I focus on what my meals are going to be a lot more. So that's a tip I'll show you in a minute. But yeah, it's really good. Try and always have home cooked meals if you can, as much as you can. And I don't mean just take stuff out the freezer and cook it. Try and cook fresh food as much as you can, colourful plates, and of course, lots of veggies. If you don't like particular veggies, don't force yourself to eat something that you hate. And I think that's a big misconception that people do, is they think of eating healthy as being like chicken, rice and veg. That's definitely something that's in the fitness industry, especially when people are like training now, that they think that that's the food that you have to eat. So I try and always encourage that you kind of go on like an 80-20, which is basically 80% of the time you eat really nutritious, really healthy food. And then if you fancy a glass of wine, you bloody have the glass of wine. And if you want a chocolate bar, you have a chocolate bar, because you know for the rest of the week you've had that really healthy food. So the nutrition is in your body. Because right now it is very important to make sure we do have some good nutrition in our bodies, especially with like obviously a virus going around. The healthier we can be, the more likely we are to prevent stuff like colds and flus and viruses and stuff like that. So yeah, I think I'll go into this a little bit more. So my 3 top tips just in general for exercise and nutrition is find what exercise you enjoy the most and what works for you. What I think is starting to change, which is good, is that people have always thought, oh, I need to get fit, especially at New Year's time. I have to go to the gym or I have to start running. And that's kind of like the two things that everybody does. But really, like my mum has tried to like do every year, she's all the time she's like, I must do something, I must do something, I must do something. And then I was like, Mum, why don't you just come to my street dance class? I did an adult street dance class. She loves it, and now she's exercising more, whereas before she was trying to force herself to do something she didn't really enjoy, so she never stuck to it. Like, and that's really, really common. So like, yeah, like I said, dancing, like personal training can be really good. I know I'm saying that from a personal trainer, but I genuinely mean it. It is really good because you have to turn up for someone. It can make you so accountable. It means you're safer when you exercise because there is someone actually physically watching you, making sure you are doing it right. And also, sometimes not even safety is an issue. Sometimes it's just knowing what to put together to make it an effective workout. You can have online programs with short videos. So lots of trainers do this. You literally type into YouTube 20-minute workout and lots of stuff will come up. Obviously, try and make sure it is someone that knows what they're doing. Easier said than done. Someone like Joe Wicks is a perfect prime example of someone that does run safe classes. And he has got like 200 and something free videos, I think, that you can do. So yeah, and I think like I put up every now and again some short videos of what you can do. When I run my Tone from Home program, everything is half an hour or less, so people can fit it into their days, because I know that time is one of the massive things that everyone always feels like they don't have. A 5-minute workout would be better than none. So especially if that's what you want to do. Group classes as well. I know lots of people that when they book a class, they have to turn up for it, or they sign up to classes, they have to turn up for it. Like, again, like a monthly subscription, like I think Alison, you run it as a monthly subscription, don't you? Yeah. So classes like that, once you've signed up for it, the minute the money's gone out your bank, quite often people do it. And then obviously I've put like running. Have accountability. So being accountable. So what it means is either having, like it says here, you can go to a class, so you've signed up for classes, hire a PT, find an online coach or program where you have it, and it put there, sometimes payment is accountability, like I just said. So I know some people that the minute they put money down on a gym, they are going to go. But some people don't, and that's kind of how some gyms make their money, is the fact that a lot of people sign up but don't go. Don't do that, sign up and go. So yeah, go to classes, hire a PT, or just do stuff with friends. Like I know a couple of clients that outside, they know each other, and they're good friends. That's actually one recommended me to another. And outside of PT with me, they meet up and they just do like a little run and walk, like run and walk. Yeah, run and walk. I thought I said jog and walk then, and that was one. Run and walk. And that's all they do. They just walk around a little park nearby me, Dinton Pastures, and they just do that, and that's great. Like, they do that every week, without hesitation, because they've got to show up for the other person. It makes a difference. Also, be kind to yourself. So I think the biggest thing when people start diets, or I don't really like the word diet, there's a really bad connotation with it, but when people start diets or programs or healthy eating or nutrition, whatever you want to call it, I think that the problem is everyone thinks they have to be 100% all the time, and when you break it, everyone just thinks they've lost it and they're never going to lose weight, so then they just eat more and more and more and more and more, and then it just goes completely off the rails, which I'm sure we can all relate to, myself included. So yeah, most people beat themselves up. So what you should really do is just draw a line in the sand and start again tomorrow, because one day of eating one chocolate bar or drinking a whole bottle of wine or one takeaway curry is not gonna ruin all your progress if you just keep going after that. Yeah, and like it says at the bottom, accept that everyone is inconsistent. Like, literally everyone. I really, really don't know anyone that is 100% of the time. I think I might have met one person, and whether they actually are or not, we'll never know, because it's behind closed doors when you eat a lot of the time. So yeah, just don't be so harsh on yourself. And then I think my last slide is just, yeah, where to find me if you want any questions or anything. My social media, I've got Facebook and Insta, so my name is RG Dance and Fitness. Stuff that I do is, like I said, the Tone from Home program. I do online classes at the moment, and obviously online personal training. But yeah, that's kind of everything about me in the fitness and nutrition. Anyway, yeah. So I don't know what is it. Do you want to open it up to questions now? Yeah. So is there any? Do you want me to unmute everyone or just leave it, or can you unmute yourself?
I can unmute myself.
There
yeah. So if you've got a question for Rachel, just feel free to unmute yourself and jump in. I'm sure she's got a wealth of knowledge. So probably whatever question you've got, I'm sure she's got an answer for it. So yeah, any questions, just jump in.
Anyone?
So Rachel, sorry, it's Julie. Where are you actually based?
So I'm based in Lower Early, which is just outside of Reading.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't. Where are you towards Southampton?
Yes.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So I'm a little bit further away. I should have said that at the beginning, really.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm a little bit further away than you. Yeah. Kind of born nearby, and we've just bought our first house. So yeah, outside of Reading.
Okay, but obviously, if you're doing the online, that doesn't matter. But I was just wondering when you were saying that when you were able to do it in a studio and stuff. I'm assuming that was in Reading, was it?
Yeah, it's actually in Wokingham, so a nearby town. It's actually in Wokingham. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in Wokingham. It's a lovely little studio. There's quite a few popping up in the area. I think they've become a bit of a popular thing now, little private studios. So yeah. But yeah, there's online stuff available, obviously. That's why I kind of posted up the online stuff if one of you wanted to talk about any of that. Because I knew that there was a bit of a distance. Is there any other questions?
Have you got any top tips for not kind of, when you start on that kryptonite thing, like the chocolate or the cheese or the wine or whatever it is, what's your top tip for then just stopping at that planned amount and then not just keeping going with the kryptonite?
No, it's actually a really good question. A couple of different things. Depends on what kind of mindset you're in. Because I think sometimes you can just have a binge day and then you'll feel really ill afterwards, and then you'll go, right, okay, that's enough the next day. My biggest thing that I would always say to you is get out a notebook. This might sound really weird, but it does work. I've done it with a couple of clients, and write down all your reasons why you are wanting to eat healthier, lose weight, tone up, do the exercise, go running, etc., etc. Because really the reason why you're doing something is way more powerful than like what we rely on, which is willpower. Because your brain is always going to trick you into eating more chocolate if you want it. If your body's craving it, at the end of the day your body's craving it. You can't stop that. So yeah, always kind of relating back to the reason why you're doing something. Like whether it's like powerful things work better. So if it's to do with children, I think that quite often those are really big pulls for people if they've got children. Sometimes it can just be a health thing. Like I know one of my clients, she, for example, she had put on a lot of weight for her. I would never say that she needed to lose weight, but she felt she did, because what was happening was she started to get like a skin, I can't think of what to call it, like I think it was a bit like eczema, where basically her skin had kind of started to rub a bit together, and she got really embarrassed and really self-conscious about it, and for her, until that went, she was going to keep fighting. So that was like her own internal like fight for it. For me, like I hate running, and the only thing that kept me running once was when I signed up for a marathon to raise money for a charity that one of my family members had passed away from. So like having that reason to do something is way more powerful, I think, than just I think I should, if that makes sense. Yeah, because I think there's a lot of pressure to stop eating bad foods. Yeah, so that's one. And I think the other thing as well is if you really are craving something, this is actually something Andy, who runs the teacher training that me and Alison have both been on, said, is if you wait 10 minutes and then you just sometimes will forget about it. So just wait 10 minutes and see if you actually really do want that after 10 minutes. But I mean, that's a guy saying it. He doesn't always understand the hormonal pressures of chocolate and wine. So yeah, just stuff like that. Like reason why is always the biggest one. I think that's worked for me and my clients. The reason why you're doing it. Yeah, I hope that helped. Hope that answered your question. Yeah. It is difficult. It is really difficult. We do put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be perfect when we plan to do something, and when it goes wrong, rather than just carrying on, we give up, which is fun. It's a human trait, but try and fight it. Yeah. Is there any other questions at all, or are we good?
Can you tell us a bit more about your Tone from Home programme?
Yeah, of course. So Tone from Home, basically what I do is I run it for 60 days. So I'm actually running one at the moment. So what we do is it's a Facebook group that I set up, and everybody that's doing it at that same time gets added in. So sometimes it can be like 5 people, sometimes it can be 15 people. It just really depends. But the great thing about it is we can all bounce off of each other. I upload every week a new workout for you to do. Some weeks have 2 workouts. At the moment as well, because I'm doing the online classes, I do sometimes combine them, so you get more exercises at the moment with it being lockdown. So bonus of lockdown. And then we do nutritional stuff. So I give you like a rough plan, and then all you do is put into it what meals and what options you want to put in. I do give some recipes. I need to keep updating that a little bit more. Yeah, so that's what it is. So we run for 6 weeks, and we post on there what we're eating as much as possible, so you can help out each other. This is why I was saying earlier about my accountability. I try and post up as much as possible what meals I'm having, to help inspire guys, and also just to show you what the recipes are that I put up there. Yeah, and then hopefully you guys retaliate as well, and you also put in some recipes of your own. We had one lady this week put in an amazing salmon recipe that quite a few of the other people were like, oh, I'm going to try this. And luckily it was from a website, so they could all use that. So yeah, that's kind of how it runs. I actually haven't fully confirmed the date yet, so I'll confirm the date. So if you follow the social media, I'll be able to give you some more information about that, when it's going to start, if that's something you're interested in. So yeah, that's that. Did that answer the question okay? Yeah. Sometimes I just keep talking, so can always let me know. Yeah, it's good. Any other questions about anything? No. Cool. Did you want me to come off the PowerPoint, Ali?
Yeah, that'd be great, Rachel. So I think Rachel got some wine in, so I think her plan is to share a glass of wine with us.
Yeah, I just need to
go and get it.
Just give me one
Permission
sec.
granted to go and fetch wine. So if you need to pour yourself a glass, feel free. And then I'll just reclaim the host, and then I can unmute everyone, and then we can enjoy a lovely glass of wine together. I'm sure if you think of anything else, as I say, I think Rachel was going to stick aroed with us.
Yeah.
So if you think of anything else, then feel free to jump in. If not, welcome to the Wine Down.
Yay!